Okay, you're back here with the Diabetic Dad. Today we're going to be walking you through how to make the Biome Broth that is featured here in Dr. B's fiber-fueled book, the Plant-Based Gut Health Program for Losing Weight, Restoring Your Health, and Optimizing Your Microbiome. A lot of new research out there on the microbiome. If you've never heard about it, I can't imagine you have. This book is packed full of a lot of great data, a lot of great anecdotal information, and this guy, Dr. B, is a recovering junk food junkie, as he likes to say, and really is kind of a leading authority in the world of gastrointestinal health and the microbiome as far as research into this type of stuff is concerned. So his whole argument is that you should be eating somewhere between 75 and 90% of your diet should be plant-based, whole food that comes from the earth. He talks a lot about different civilizations around the world, 8 different parts of the world. I think it's 8, don't quote me on that, but they're in very different places. But the common theme is that they basically eat all of their food. Most of their diet comes from the earth, comes from plant-based origins, and they all have incredibly long life expectancy and incredibly low rates of chronic disease. And so we might be onto something. There's another guy, Dr. Michael Greger, who wrote a book called How Not to Die. He's like one of the original guys who's been leading the charge of overall holistic health, kind of away from pharmaceuticals, away from medications, and seeing your food as your medicine and your medicine as your food. And again, he's got some great anecdotal stories and some great evidence-based research that backs up everything that he has to say as well. I'm gonna just give a quick shout out to Alexandra Caspero, a registered dietitian. It's my understanding that she helped write a lot of these recipes that Dr. B has in the Fiber Fueled book. But today we're gonna be talking about the Biome Broth. If you want to make the Wild Biome Super Soup, you're gonna need this broth. If you wanna have this broth on hand just for a little sipper, if it's a cold day, if you've got a cold, it's gonna be packed full of some antioxidants. It's gonna boost your gut health. It's gonna boost your immune system and tame inflation. And so we're gonna just talk about how to make it. Basically, we're gonna set it in this here crock pot, the original slow cooker. It doesn't have to be a crock pot. It can be any brand of slow cooker you want. 6 hours is how long it's going to take. So we're trying to do this like 11 o'clock or so in the morning because I would like to use this broth this evening to make a soup. It is about 20 degrees outside here in Pittsburgh, early January. And so it's perfect soup weather. The Wild Biome Super Soup is a very hearty, nutritional, delicious soup. And so we're probably going to have that for dinner tonight. But first I need to make this broth. And so really we're just going to talk about the ingredients here. I'm going to put it in the slow cooker and turn it on low, and we'll check back in about 6 hours. First up here is some nutritional yeast. I have never used nutritional yeast until I started cooking here the past few months following this fiber-fueled book. But it packs a lot of nutrient punches, right? There's a lot of vitamin B in here, very rich in vitamin B, which is essential for all sorts of things like red blood cell production, nervous system health. It's a protein, fiber, antioxidant-rich source of all of those nutrients. It helps boost your immunity. It helps support your heart health. It is another one of those complete proteins. All 9 of those essential amino acids are here. Can help with digestion. It can lower your blood sugar levels, and it can increase your mood and lower anxiety. Another powerful ingredient here is going to be some turmeric root, some ground turmeric. And turmeric, similarly, it's anti-inflammatory. It is an antioxidant. It helps with digestive health. It helps with heart health. It increases your mood, and it can even help fight depression. So Dr. Greger talks a lot about turmeric as well in some of his work. We're also going to use a little bit of dried mushroom powder. I chose the Ohm brand turkey tail. It kind of shocked me how many different types of mushroom powder there are. Again, this is something you can find at a place like Whole Foods. This particular one helps support immune health and gut health, the old turkey tail. So that's what we're going to be using today for our mushroom. Then we've got some kombu. Again, the only place I could find this was at Whole Foods, but I'm sure you could get it at like an Asian supermarket. But basically, this is a big piece of seaweed. We're going to take a look at it here in a minute. We've got about a cup's worth of freshly chopped celery, a cup's worth of freshly chopped carrots. We're going to make this a little bit more robustly today. I've got a half of a leftover white onion that was in the fridge, and I've got 2 cloves of garlic in here. They're not minced. They're just going to go sit in this broth, and they're just going to ooze out whatever goodness they can over the next 6 hours or so. And then lastly, we've got 8 ounces here of water, and that's going to be the primary base of our broth. All right, so again, not rocket surgery. All we're gonna do is dump in our vegetables that we've pre-cut. Now we're gonna get 2 tablespoons of this nutritional yeast. 1, 2. Now, so I failed to mention that we're also gonna be needing to use some tamari and some extra virgin olive oil in this recipe. And so again, it's a good thing that I started with the dry ingredients first in that tablespoon measure, because if we had started with the wet ones first, then that dry stuff would have stuck in there. So we're gonna put some of this olive oil, put some of this tamari in last. Okay, we're just gonna take a teaspoon of this mushroom powder, quarter teaspoon of the ground turmeric, nice yellow color. Okay, I also failed to mention we're gonna need about an inch worth of just sliced fresh ginger. So this is a ginger root. Again, something you probably see in the grocery store, like what the heck is that? Okay, so for the ginger, I'm just gonna use a vegetable peeler to slice it nice and evenly. All right, we're gonna open up our Kombu here now. It comes in this vacuum sealed packet. I think there's about 12 servings in here, 12 pieces of this stuff. And so here's what it looks like, just this, kind of crunchy, rolled up piece of seaweed, basically. Again, a lot of health benefits here coming from this stuff. One of those naturally occurring ingredients that certainly doesn't naturally occur anywhere near Pittsburgh or Cleveland, but it's stuff that's going in here. It's gonna help boost the overall richness and robustness of this here broth. So the description here on the back of the Kombu says that it is mildly salty and sweet. Kelp, so it's kelp. I don't even know if maybe calling it seaweed was an insult to it. That is rich in flavor, nutrients, and minerals. Use it to bring a depth of flavor and umami to your broths, beans, salads, and stews. And you might have noticed a little bit of like residue on there when I showed you just a second ago. The tip here says, no need to wash off the naturally occurring white mineral deposits because they contribute to the amazing umami flavor. So there you have it. All right, we've got our Kombu in, we've got our carrots, our celery, we've got our teaspoon of mushroom powder, we've got our ginger, we've got our nutritional yeast, we've got our turmeric. Now I've just got to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of tamari, the 8 cups of water, press on, make sure it's on low, set a timer for 6 hours, and we're off to the races. Here we are with our extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons of this, and then 3 tablespoons of the tamari, which again is the 50% lower sodium tamari. 8 ounces of water, distribute it nice and evenly around here. And there we have the base of our Biome Broth. And I'm just gonna stir this up real quick, make sure everything kind of combines. It's obviously gonna get cooked down together, but just give it a little spin. That Kombu is just living in there like that alien from Star Wars when they're in the garbage disposal. And if that doesn't make you want to try this, I don't know what will. All right, so we're all ready. We're gonna put the lid on our slow cooker, set it to low. Timer's going on for, typical kitchen timer is not gonna be on for 6 hours. So I'm gonna set a reminder on my phone, 6 hours. That'll give us enough time to make a nice stew for dinner this evening using this here Biome Broth. It's a staple. Every Sunday, it's a good habit to get into. Kind of recenter your gut, recenter your overall body, get some good nutrients in there. Just again, have something if you're not feeling well, if it's a cold day, help you out with a sore throat, runny nose, you got the sniffles, whatever it may be. Otherwise, we'll check back with you in about 6 hours. Okay, we're back here now. It's been a little over 6 hours. Our broth has been stewing. We're about to do the grand reveal, pull the lid off this puppy, see what it looks like. Here we are. Definitely, a nice looking broth here that we've got. It smells fantastic. Looking forward to trying this. Again, the ultimate goal for this particular batch is to go into a soup, the Wild Biome Super Soup. Tried that one a couple days ago for the first time, loved it. We're gonna add some mushrooms into it this time, make it a little bit heartier. It's gonna have those mushrooms, it's gonna have some chickpeas, it's got some kale, it's got this broth, it's got some carrots, it's got some celery. It's a tasty soup. It is going down to like 16 degrees here tonight. Oh, great soup weather. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to ladle this mixture out from the crock pot into a large pot. I'm gonna have a strainer there. What we're gonna do is we just wanna have liquid at the end of the day. And then after that, we're gonna put some of it into these mason jars to freeze. You don't want to necessarily keep this in your fridge all week, but you can certainly keep maybe 1 container in the fridge for tomorrow. Anything beyond a day or 2, though, that you plan on consuming, you want to freeze. Easy to freeze, just make sure that you do it the right way, which we'll go through. Here's that big piece of Kombu. Remember that piece of kelp we were talking about earlier? Looks like it's broken apart while we were cooking it down. So here's all the leftover ingredients. We really have no use for these at this point in time. And so you can put them down the garbage disposal, in the trash, or ideally, you can compost them for some soil to grow some stuff. All right, so we've got our broth. All the liquid has been separated. It's in this big pot. We need to get some of it into some of these mason jars so we can freeze it to use it later this week. I'll put some of it into this container that's a little bit larger to just kind of keep in the fridge for our soup tomorrow. But otherwise, we've got these mason jars that... Well, we had 4 mason jars, now we have 3, and that's the second mason jar I've lost since I started doing this, so that's not a good trend. Goes without saying, you want to make sure you're absolutely certain there are no shards of glass before you start drinking this stuff. So we're going to take our time here and clean up the area. We will resume getting these in the not broken mason jars in a moment. Now, if you are planning on freezing any of this broth, you just want to make sure that you don't overfill one of these mason jars. As we all remember from biology, probably maybe chemistry, one of those, probably chemistry, actually, couldn't think of it. The frozen state of the liquid is going to expand, right? So the ice is going to be a little bit larger volume-wise than the liquid will be. And obviously gas, you're just gonna have to get out of there. The liquid, usually these, the mason jar, the Ball brand, typically has a line, I don't know if you can really see it toward the top. That's the absolute highest you wanna fill a liquid. That gives you basically all of this room here for the ice to form. I'm not gonna go anywhere past the 1.5 cup mark though, just out of an abundance of extra caution, seeing as how I have a tendency of breaking these glasses. So you can see here, we only really fill this one up to about the 1.5 cup line, so there's plenty of room for this liquid to expand in the freezer. With that, we're done with the broth. We're gonna use most of this for the soup tomorrow. We're gonna save some for later in the week. It's a cold week, kids are having a little bit of a cough. If I can convince them to try this, hopefully that will help with their cough. If I get the cough, then I've got something that can help with that. Either way, the gut's gonna be well nourished. Otherwise, I just have a quick question for my daughter here. Do you know why the hipster burned his mouth on his soup?
Of course.
Why?
Because he had it before it was cool.
Till next time.